What's up, guys? Just a final reminder that until the end of the night, you can get 30% off your entire order at gfuel.com with code ESPRESSO. Check it out if you're interested, link in the description below. Modern Warfare Season 4, a few new maps, a new operator, a new battle pass, but most importantly to a lot of people, 2 new weapons. As with every season, the question comes down to, okay, where do these new weapons fit in the power rankings, and what does it do for the existing rankings of weapons? So today, I want to run down with you what I think are the top 10 weapons for multiplayer within Season 4. Later in the week, we'll be running down some stuff with Warzone and top loadouts, but wanted to get this out here while we're still talking about weapons overall, for those that may be just wanting to be grinding out the new content within Season 4 right away and not necessarily paying attention to the Warzone side of things. So with that said, as we go along, I'd love to get your thoughts down below in the comment section. What is your top 5 or top 10 weapon list within Modern Warfare right now? As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare and Warzone on a daily basis. But anyways, let's jump into it. Now, unlike other top 10 weapon videos we've done, today I want to approach it in a manner of a true listed environment with an actual 1 to 10 ranking, not just here's the top 10, they can shift depending on engagement, because while that is true, I do think that the top 10, or at the very least the top 5, are actually very clearly distinguished in overall versatility and usefulness on a majority of situations. Also, do bear in mind that this list is an indication of my own experiences and may not exactly represent what you think, and that's totally cool. But anyways, let's start with number 1. Despite the vocal crowd hoping for a nerf or an adjustment of some kind, the number 1 weapon in Modern Warfare in my books is still the Grau 5.56. Now, we've talked about the many reasons that the Grau is such an incredible weapon before, and really in any sort of situation you want to use it in, Warzone or MP, it can thrive. Whether that be close quarters, mid-range, or even long-range engagements, you got a great chance of winning it so long as you're accurate. But the Grau's recoil, or I should say lack thereof, is a huge asset for this weapon and its ability to get the job done. Mix that in with a profile like the M4A1's in the sense that it's a jack-of-all-trades weapon, one that can perform well with all stats, and it doesn't have any glaring trade-offs like, say, the Odin has an incredible damage profile, but an incredibly slow rate of fire and absurd recoil as that trade-off. Instead, the competitive rate of fire, incredibly easy to manage recoil, the range, the mobility, all of it makes it the hands-down best rifle on the battleground in my opinion. Pop on things like a recoil mitigating grip like the Cronin Sniper Elite, a longer barrel like the Nexus or the Archangel barrel, maybe attack lasers if you want a quicker ADS time, and you literally have a build that will steamroll people. Despite having fun with a few other weapons right now, I would definitely still argue anytime, any day that the Grau is definitely the best weapon within Modern Warfare still. Next, the M4A1 is a close second still, and this has been one that's been a consistent top weapon since the very beginning, the launch of the game. If you've been here since the beginning or even anywhere close, that's no surprise. It's a powerhouse no matter what. Very similarly to the Grau, though I'd even wager the Grau was probably made to directly counter the use of the M4A1 and try and get some other people to use other weapons other than the M4, though it didn't really work out too well, did it? Being that it just shifted the usage of the weapons. The recoil is incredibly easy to manage, the damage profile, solid, the fire rate, competitive, the mobility, pretty good. The weapon, again, like we said with the Grau, is a jack of all trades. You can pick it up and do well with it whether you're a 10+ year pro veteran and know the ins and outs of every single Call of Duty to date, or if you're a first-time user coming in with Warzone for a free-to-play weekend and experiencing the franchise and MP for the first time for just a few days. It literally doesn't matter. It's point, shoot, and assuming you're accurate, you absolutely have a chance to get the necessary kills. Number 3, though the game to me is AR dominant, the MP5 jumps in and takes that bronze medal, if I'm being honest. The MP5 is, again, the SMG jack of all trades. It doesn't have any glaring standout traits, but it also isn't anything that has any insane trade-offs. Like, again, that Odin, or perhaps I guess in the case of SMGs, a weapon like the Uzi, which with the AE rounds is incredibly powerful and can pack a punch for an SMG, but it also has a slower rate of fire comparably, making the TTK severely dependent on pristine accuracy. But the MP5 is that jack of all trades weapon that works well in almost all close to mid-range engagements, and depending, sometimes you can even challenge a little bit further if you're looking to boost that ego a little bit. Not to mention that unlike the Grau and unlike the severely limiting amount of the rounds of the M4s, there's a killer ammo modification of the 10mm rounds that adds damage and range with very minimal penalty to the rate of fire, and that's something that is just absurdly useful. Now, admittedly, I don't use the 10mm in, say, Warzone, but for the sake of MP, absolutely I'd recommend it, especially because it doesn't take 5 to 7 shots to down a player, let alone finish them off, so you can do a lot more damage in double, triple, and multi-kills you can end up getting in MP with one single magazine. But again, add in the fact that the rate of fire, mobility, mobility, and plus, again, you have the ability to slide cancel with the MP5. It then becomes a default SMG for so many, and for very good reason. It's just a beast of a weapon. Number 4, though, I actually think we're going to be jumping back to another rifle in play, but this time a newer one, and where we see the introduction of the new weapons, with the CR56. This being the new rifle within the current season of Modern Warfare. Right off the bat, this thing is something you'd probably expect with any weapon with no attachments, but it can get the job done if used properly. But then when you start to rank this thing up, when you get it maxed out and then put on things like the Zodiac barrel, the 45 rounds, and things alike that give it a little bit more damage range and also more shots to burn through enemies, you're going to be absolutely shredding with this thing. The rate of fire is a little bit slower, but as a result, there's a bit of a damage profile increase, but the overall weapon can rip. And to me, it's the easier to control, easier to use AK-47, and it's one that offers a bit more firepower and mobility to it as well. So I can see this thing giving the other weapons a run for their money short term as the main meta weapon, since they're brand new still, but I don't think that I see it overtaking the M4 or the Grau, but I can easily see it retaining its spot at number 3 among rifles for sure. So if you haven't ranked up to tier 31 just yet, I do highly recommend doing so, so you can get your hands on this for yourself and experience it. But number 5 then is going to go to the other new weapon, that being the Fennec, or the Vector, though it's not necessarily named that. And this is one that I really had to work to get a handle on, but now that I do, I absolutely love this thing and definitely would put it in the top 5, at least as of now, but also atop the SMG class with the MP5. Now, if you unlock this at tier 15 and use it right away, I will warn you, it sucks. It's not good without attachments. You don't have enough ammo to get through double kill engagements, and you're probably reloading after every single kill. And plus, with that natural reload, it's rather atrocious. Plus, you don't have a lot of ammo in reserve. But once you rank it up, you're golden. You're set. Toss on the ZLR 18-inch deadfall barrel, the 40-round magazine, sleight of hand to combat that slow reload speed, and of course, any other attachments you want to fill out that build, and you got yourself a classic Vector loadout straight out of hell that will burn through enemies both at close quarters and at range, and again, both in MP and in Warzone. So definitely rank up to 15 and get it, and then rank it up and absolutely destroy your enemies with it. Rounding into the bottom 5 here at this, we're going to talk next about the Kilo 141. Now, the Kilo is a weapon that has been sturdy and stable the entire duration of Modern Warfare, but it really hasn't cracked the code for being a main meta weapon. It's great in really almost all engagements, but it is something that just because of things like the Grau, because of the M4, because of now the CR56, it does often get overshadowed. While it is a weapon that is absolutely a great weapon and something that is stable, you can again pick it up, and it's pretty close to being a jack of all trades rifle. It is still one you may not necessarily consider above those weapons we just mentioned. So the Kilo, though, is one that is absolutely a fantastic weapon that when you kit it out for, say, recoil control, it's absolutely a laser shooter. If you end up kitting it out for, say, ADS speed, it's something that you can end up making a very formidable weapon as well. It's, again, one of those weapons that kind of just fits the mold for any way that you want to play with it. And that's something that makes it very versatile and very great, and an awesome asset to have in your armory. Next, another weapon that does follow very similarly to that of the Kilo, being a weapon that I think honestly was the first attempt at trying to dethrone the M4A1, but also be that jack of all trades weapon, is that of the Ram 7. Again, being a very formidable weapon on its own, but maybe not stacking up to the big boys, the Grau of the M4A1 and now the CR56. It's a weapon that still has a great fire rate, very easy to control recoil, very easy to manage mobility, and all things that go along with it. Is it something that has those trade-offs that really push it in one way or the other, like an Odin? No, but it is something that actually helps its playability. It's something you can jump in and still do really well with. And honestly, for quite some time, especially in Warzone, I favored the Ram over the M4A1, and was something that I would recommend that night and day if you want something that can burn through armor or so, but also get the job done. It was kind of a hybrid between the M4 and the M13 at the time, but it was something that was very formidable, and again, something you could definitely use, and still makes this here on our top 10 list of all weapons in MP. Though now that we mentioned the M13, I would definitely put the M13 here at the number 8 spot, because the M13 is a weapon that when stacked up against all the other rifles, for a lot of the play, it is something that the others will definitely outclass it. But where the M13 thrives is the exact same place that we talk about it in Warzone. At a distance, the rate of fire, the ability to control the recoil at a distance, and then the multipliers at a distance, it makes it so it's one of the best rifles, again, at mid-range to longer range, especially if you're hitting headshots. It is one of the fastest time to kills of those rifles at that distance. So if you're looking to challenge things, I guess medium range as well, close quarters you can get the job done because of the fire rate, but if you want to be somebody that can absolutely laser people at a distance, the M13 is your weapon to go to. Though again, it is a little bit more situational, so therefore a little further on down this list here. Then after that, we'll talk about the MP7, my other personal favorite SMG here out of the lot. The MP5, the Fennec have all been great, but the MP7 is kind of old reliable to me. You can kit this thing out for an absurd ADS speed, being the fastest ADS weapon if I'm not mistaken, with things like these shorter barrels, the monolithic suppressor, and things like no stock and a stippled grip tape. You can add ammo that already has a decent ammo count to begin with, but you can add a 50 round or 60 round magazine, which makes it incredible as well. But this will be able to burn through your enemies just by its sheer rate of fire. If you're accurate, chances are close quarters, mid-range, you're going to be able to get some of those kills off, no doubt. Longer range you can do, but you're going to get a lot more hit markers, and so therefore, if you're going up and challenging, say, a rifle, you may lose that gunfight, so just be aware, but it's definitely a weapon that is certainly a formidable adversary. Then finally, at number 10, we kind of have a deadlock here for this because the PKM and the Bruin are both incredible weapons because of their ability that their damage output affords them, but also for LMGs, they're actually really mobile. The Bruin being the bigger of the two in terms of that mobility, definitely something you can run and gun with. The PKM, if you can manage that movement speed, the ADS actually is pretty redeeming when compared to other LMGs. Again, especially if you kit it out right, you're going to have a weapon that has some of the highest damage profiles, but also really is up there in terms of competing with your everyday rifles in terms of other attributes. So it's definitely something that if you want to break away from some SMG play, some rifle play that maybe is just a little too meta to you, you can still do well absolutely with both of these. So those are two that I would recommend, and it's also going to close out our top 10 weapons here within Season 4 for Modern Warfare. So that's it. That's where we're going to wrap it up. I would love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Again, let me know your top 5, maybe top 10, or maybe just your favorite weapon overall. Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts, but hopefully enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff we got you covered here on the channel. So if any of that is true, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, there's the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. I live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.